Happy Monday, everyone. Well, not really. If you're watching this, you probably already know the score. Lions lost 17-14 yesterday at home against the Bills. Kyle Orton outdueled Matthew Stafford. That's pretty tough to say. It's a hard pill to swallow on that one. But basically, Stafford when his numbers weren't too bad. He threw for 221 yards, had a touchdown and a pick. Orton had 308 yards with the same thing, touchdown and a pick. I think Stafford's touchdown, he's getting a lot of heat for that one. He was a little behind him, but once again, I think 3 of Stafford's 6 interceptions this year, or 5 interceptions, I think 3 of the 5 have been tipped. One against Carolina was tipped. This one was tipped. And then the one against the Packers, the first one against the Packers was tipped. That's 3 of the 5 were tip passes. So, say what you will about that. But I think the big story coming from this, as everyone knows, is the kicking game. Going over 3 on field goals is just completely unacceptable. The Lions are dead last in kicking efficiency. I saw a stat that if it was college, they would be 126th out of 129 teams. That's how bad the kicking has been for the Lions. They cut Alex Henry today, so we'll be on our 3rd kicker in 6 games next week, or coming up this week. That's just ridiculous after so many years with Eddie Murray and then Jason Hanson. We went like 40 years with 2 kickers, and we've had 5. This would be 4th because we had David Akers last year, and now we got Nate Freese at the beginning, Alex Henry, and then whoever they pick up this week. They're trying out Matt Prater. That name sounds familiar. He's a Pro Bowl kicker from the Broncos. I think he only missed 1 kick last year. He's only cut because he's making a lot of money for a kicker, and if he has one more substance abuse, I think he's done for a year. So there's big risk there. It's one of those high risk, high reward type things. So if we pick him up and Prater can figure it out, then that's a steal at kicker. They're also bringing in Connor Barth, who was with Tampa Bay for a few years, and then also Jay Feely, who would be cool as a fan favorite. He played for Michigan, back in the 90s, but he's 38 years old, so he's only a stopgap while the other 2 guys are in their 20s. So that'd be unless the other 2 guys are pretty bad, I think it's going to be. I really think it's going to be Matt Prater. I don't understand. I understand bringing in more than 1 guy, but the guy should never have been cut anyway. So I think it's a steal if we can get Prater to sign. That'd be awesome. Hopefully that'll fix our kicking woes. The other big things of the game: injuries. Calvin went into the game questionable for the 2nd week in a row. He had 0 targets, 0 catches in the first half. Got 1 catch for 7 yards in the second half and took a shot to the leg, same leg that was injured. So they're saying that he'll probably be out this week. My guess is he'll be out till the bye. That's just a hunch I have. We have at Minnesota this week, and then we have home against the Saints, and then we go to London against Atlanta. I could be wrong, but there's just a part of me that thinks he's going to be out for a while. And if you're taking him out this week, there's only 2 more games. Anyone who's had an ankle injury knows that 1 week isn't going to do anything. And if he already re-injured it, then just a hunch. I think he's out until the Miami game after the bye week, week 9. Bush also got hurt. He hurt his ankle, I think, in the 3rd quarter. Didn't come back. We were already without Joique Bell, Theo Riddick. We were down to Jed Collins, our fullback, and then George Wynn, the preseason star for our running back. and he looked pretty good. George Wynn looked good. I mean, he hit the holes just like it looked just like preseason, which is pretty amazing, seeing as that we were playing the top. I think it was the number 2 run defense in the league yesterday. So I like George Wynn. I think he brings more to the table than Theo Riddick does, to be honest. I think Theo Riddick can be Bush's replacement in the future, but right now, I mean, I think he runs better than Theo. So, but more likely he'll get put back down on the practice squad once Theo Riddick and Joique Bell come back. It looks like Joique Bell should be back this week. They said it was only a mild concussion, and Reggie Bush might be back this week too. Should be. I think he just tweaked an ankle too, so hopefully he'll be back. Another thing about the game yesterday, they went up 14-0. It was about 13:30 left in the second quarter when Rashean Mathis picked off Kyle Orton and ran it back. I was thinking the game was going to be a blowout. If you saw my preview on Friday, I thought they would win 31-10. After they scored 14 in just over a quarter, I thought for sure that I'd be right, if not wrong, in how many points we were going to score. And then we didn't score another point for the rest of the game. Not only did we have the 3 missed field goals, but I don't know. I don't know why this offense is so bad right now. I think, actually, with Calvin, I think it's actually might be a good thing. Not to say, obviously we're better with Calvin, but a hampered Calvin playing as a decoy isn't helping us. I think if he doesn't show up the whole game, like knowing that he's not going to be in for the week, then I think that might help us get him healthy, and then we can actually game plan for not having him at all instead of game planning for maybe having him. So we'll see. Vikings aren't very good either side of the ball, so we'll see. That's who the Lions play this week. They go to Minnesota, but how the offense can only score 7 points. They scored 7 points this week. They scored 24 last week. The offense got all those points last week, and then they only scored 12 against Green Bay the week before that. So something's wrong with the offense. I'm worried that with Stafford they took his edge away. Last week with that Ebron throw that was into double coverage, I like that. But it doesn't, especially in this game against Buffalo. He just looked like Captain fucking Checkdown. He, on 3rd and long, 2nd and long, it was check down, which was very frustrating to see. I guess that's what everyone asked for. We're bringing in Caldwell and Lombardi. They fixed his mechanics, but now he's, like I said, he's Mr. Checkdown. So hopefully that was just a one-game thing. Also, with Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, we still take away Golden Tate, and the rest of the offense is the same offense we had last year. So he knows all of the weaknesses that the Lions have. They know exactly who to exploit. They got 6 sacks against the Lions yesterday, and 3 of those were against Rob Sims, the left guard. So I think that Schwartz knew exactly who to go after and how to go after him, and I think that's what contributed to the 6 sacks. But that I don't know. The offense needs to figure it out. This is getting ridiculous. The Lions should have 30 points a game. Obviously that's facetious, but it definitely 20. They should definitely be averaging 20 points, and I think they're averaging like 18, which is the bottom third of the league. It's just stupid, especially with how good the defense has been playing. The offense needs to put up more points. The other thing, Darius Slay had a great first 3 games. He was rated up there, top 10 corner in the league, shutting people down. The last 2 weeks against some pretty putrid quarterbacks. Geno Smith last week, who got benched during the game yesterday, and then Kyle Orton this week. He is just something. Hopefully it was just a 2-game funk and he'll be done, but he's played definitely not as good. He's given up more receiving yards and more catches in the last 2 games than he had the first 3 combined against much better quarterbacks. First 3 we're going against Rodgers, Cam Newton, and Eli Manning. And the last 2 we go Geno Smith and Kyle Orton. And the 2 quarterbacks that are the worst is the ones he played the worst against. I don't know. So that's basically yesterday's recap, all in a nutshell. The positives to take out of yesterday's game: George Wynn played good. The Lions offense did just enough. They didn't go out there and handle the game like they should have, but they did enough to win the game. If fucking Henry could make a goddamn field goal, his second one wasn't even close. That was a freaking shank if I've ever seen. At least the first one hit the cross or the upright. First one was close. The second 2 were just. I couldn't even watch the third one. I just had my head down the whole time, and I look up, and I hear no good, and I couldn't believe it. But I thought, okay, hey, there's only 20 seconds left. Lions could, we're gonna win this one in overtime, and then we give up a play that only people make against the Lions. Pass was thrown way behind Sammy Watkins, and he tips it right to himself. Pretty much the same play that Reggie Bush tipped it, and it got picked off, in the first half. So, that's the tale of the Lions. I know the Bills are snake bitten too, so they got lucky yesterday with that play. I'm not saying the whole game, but that play, just being able to tip it to himself like that with no one around to hit him as he's catching it or bobbling it. But that's yesterday's game. Next up, the Lions go to Minnesota. Divisional matchup, second one for the Lions. The Vikings are coming off a blowout loss to Green Bay on Thursday night. They're 2-3. So, but they were without Teddy Bridgewater. He missed the last game because of an ankle injury that he had on his first start against Atlanta. So we'll see. Like last week, I'll have a preview up on Friday, going more in depth into the game. But that's early preview. It's basically what are the Lions going to do without Calvin? I said at least he's going to be out probably a month, but I think for sure 100% he'll be out this week. So we'll see what the Lions can do without Calvin. Hopefully Bush and Bell come back. And then NFC North update. Take a little preview around the league, a recap around the division. Green Bay, like we said a couple times, they blew out Minnesota to improve to 3-2 and 2-1 in the division. They've already played 3 division games. They beat Chicago and Minnesota and then lost to us. Chicago loses to Carolina. They had the lead in the fourth quarter. I think they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I could be wrong, but and then they lost by a touchdown to Carolina in Carolina yesterday. So they fall to 2-3, and they're 0-1 in the division. So the division race, Lions are still in first by half a game. They are tied with the Packers at 3-2, but Lions are 1-0 in the division with that one win being against the Packers. So the Packers are 3-2, 2-1 in the division. Bears are 2-3, 0-1 in the division, and then the Vikings are 2-3, and they're also 0-1 in the division. So, I'm still struggling today. Every time I try to put a smile on my face, all I could think about is that game yesterday. That was just another game that never should. I should be here talking about how the Lions need to figure it out, but at least we won the game, and instead we're talking about our third kicker in 6 games. So that's the Lions. Of course, now that we have a good team, we have no kicker. In all those years, we had no team and one of the best kickers in the league, if not the best. So that's where we're at. Lions 3-2, 2-1 at home, 1-1 on the road, and got a game at Minnesota this week, which we should be favored by a lot, just like last week, and we should win that one. We should be favored really in the next 3 games. We got Minnesota this week. We got the Saints coming to town next week, and Jimmy Graham may not be in for that game. so that'll help us out. And then the game after that's the Atlanta and London. So we should be favored in the next 3 games. We got to at least take 2 of those and go into the bye at worst 5-3. Should be 6-2, which is still a disappointment, seeing as the fact that the 3 wins we've had this year have been dominating wins, and the 2 losses. The first loss, I think those 2 field goals missed in the first half made it worse. I think Stafford started pressing, knowing that he was getting no help at the kicking game. And then this game lost 100% because the kicker can't make a field goal. So that's basically it for tonight. Sorry this one is so late. Usually I'll try to get them up earlier, but like I said, I'm still steaming over yesterday. Hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow about it. Basically, we're still 3-2. We're still on top of the division. Still early. So we'll see what happens this week. I'll see you guys on Friday, and go Lions.